Only about 24 hours ago, Minecraft's entire overworld was rocked by two big new mobs that were added to the game. Alongside those new mobs, some new decorations for the floor as well. But tickle me silly and call me some kind of goofy name, I can't believe it. Less than a day after we began, Minecraft's next drop heats up even more. The familiar, the one and only, Smoky Stack. I figured the best spot to kick today's video off was a little bit of code digging. It was completely lapsed from my memory somehow yesterday to remember to mention the release date. What is it? And down in the comments of yesterday's video, which killed it by the way, thank you very much, I saw it pretty much right away. What is the release date? Though we don't technically have an official release date, Smoky Stack has found that indeed this next drop is a spring drop. And then right here, found inside of the code of the latest Bedrock preview, the one we're talking about today, the experimental behavior pack for Spring Drop 2025 content. Name, Spring Drop 2025. It's a little bit of a yeah, we kind of figured moment, but it's just nice to hear the words aloud. Bam, the brand new Bedrock preview. The devs have to do something about this preview acacia screen because this is not the exciting vibe of a new Minecraft era. It looks the same, crusty and dusty. After naming your world, the most beautiful name of all time, inside of the latest preview, if you want to check out the new drops, it's over to the experimental tab for us. Unlike on Minecraft to Java Edition, there is an experimental toggle inside of this menu, and whoa, hold on a minute. That picture right there, the cross out, was that there before? Wasn't that like a bottle or something? That's new. Now, sliding down through the rest of the experimental toggles, relatively late in a preview cycle for an update, I mean, it's unusual to see a brand new toggle pop up. There are no other new experimental toggles, as far as I can tell right now, to be had. Now, jumping into a brand new world and hitting the ground running, immediately trees. They're all around us, and take a look at the leaves. Yes, rejoice. Just like it is on Minecraft to Java Edition, the leaves, they drop the leaves over here too. Oh. And the leaves. I talked about it a little bit before, but long story short, in the latest preview, kind of perfectly as Firestorm pointed out on the subreddit over here, so thank you, but in the latest preview, the leaves, it's hard to tell from this picture, but they were all the wrong color. This had happened in the very final preview of last year. We talked about it at some point, and here we are. Now we know that the leaf adjusting that strange bug, maybe perhaps it was linked to this big leaf update that hit us right as soon as this year begun. This is proof of my line of thinking that bugs sometimes maybe might be a little bit more than just a simple bug. They might relate to an upcoming update. Upcoming update, oh my god, they're here. They've made it here. The brand new pigs, they look even more beautiful. Like every single time I take a look at these things, get a full 360 on it, I fall even more madly in love with this thing. Like, oh my god, you're adorable, dude. The brand new pigs added in Minecraft Java Snapshot 25 W02A have, yes, made their way over to the latest Bedrock preview as well. These pigs are cross-eyed, they're new, and, well, this one's orange. Now, our new Warm Pig variant friends will be able to be found in tons of places across the overworld. I don't believe I showed the full list of the biomes yesterday, but it does seem to be in perfect parity with Minecraft to Java Edition. We're looking at the Savannah variants, the Jungle variants, and the Badland variants as well. Meanwhile, our old friend that is now known as the Temperate Pig, the classic one, that'll be able to be found in many of the old classic biomes. You're looking at getting your hands on the classic pink pig? Well, try your hand inside of any of the forest biome variants. That includes things like the flower forest or the swamp biome. Meanwhile, swagging things over to the colder side of the spectrum, oh my gosh, I still like it more. One day later, and I think this is going to be how it is for eternity, unless they add a beautiful muddy pig or something, the cold pig is my favorite. Always. The cold pig. You'll be able to find this place in any of the biomes that get a little bit more chilly. No, don't run away. Please, we just met. I will not hurt you. I won't. I promise. You're too perfect. Maybe I'm kind of crazy or lost it, but I somehow love the idea of being able to shear this pig and make like a warm furry coat or something. Our proper cold chilly pig biomes are going to be the biomes that you can see on screen right now. That's going to be the taiga and its variants, and then any of the windy biomes as well. Windswept biomes, windy. With all of this ambiance, I really wonder if we're going to see any new sounds as well. The overworld feels so quiet, right? Next stop of the day today, I'd like to swing it over to the Dark Oak Forest biome because tragically, for whatever reason, on Minecraft Bedrock Edition, the leaves, and while we're at it, those beautiful, the brand new wildflowers as well, neither of these two ground-covering features made it into the latest preview. In a brand new blog post or website article from none other than Mojang themselves, they sort of acknowledge the fact that these new ground cover things are completely missing and did mention that they will be on Bedrock Edition very soon. If you're on the edge of the seat for these brand new ground coverings, I feel like a good guess would probably be like next week or something. I guess we'll have to wait and see, and I'll probably be there. Switching things up to some exclusive updates for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. Inside of the latest preview, the big dripply plant, a plant that tragically I kind of always forget about, got a big update, except no it didn't. Huh? Yeah, so the changelog is kind of ambiguous with this one, just simply stating big driftly blocks can no longer be placed on top of... Oh, I'm a clown. The entire circus. Inside of the nearby Pale Garden biome that is still terrifyingly small on Minecraft Bedrock Edition. But just this one. Like, to be clear, inside of the changelog, the change is definitely here that Pale Gardens will generate more frequently and be a little bit larger now, and the same Woodland Mansion change that we talked about yesterday. So it's probably just chance that this biome happened to be a little bit smaller, but with that being said, we do have an interesting change when it comes to the plants and creatures that reside inside of this biome. So this change here is going to involve both the creaking and the eye blossom, which, speaking of, the creaking art has that brand new beautiful texture as well. I love this more dim one. It looks so good. But the eye blossom and the creaking, well, one, the creaking will be able to pop into the world as soon as the moon begins rising, and then the eye blossom, it has the opportunity to open as soon as the moon rises down. Doesn't mean it will. I believe this all will account to a slightly, like ever so slightly longer time that the creaking will actually be able to pop up, manifest, and exist inside of your world. You can think of this as like the smallest, ever so slightly tiniest buff to resin farms. However, when it comes to resin farms, the particles that link to the block, they seem to be entirely missing inside of this preview. I'm not too sure. And that's kind of a big problem if you're going to try and find one in survival, so good luck. Mob spawning, the mechanic that is very, very important to Minecraft, but also vastly different on either version of the game. A little bit of a hot minute ago in this video right here, you may recall that we talked all about mob spawning and how allegedly, according to the developers, well, at that point in time, a brand new Q&A, well, mob spawning on Bedrock was changing, and soon. Fast forward now approximately 2 months from that November Q&A, and so far we have seen nothing come to fruition when it comes to mob spawning over on Minecraft Bedrock Edition. Or at least nothing major. Today, it seems that everything changes. Tucked all the way down to the technical update section of the changelog, added a creature spawn probability JSON component for spawning related experiments. Hey, now hold up. Rewind to the beginning of the video and you might remember that the only experiment I mentioned is one called the Drop 1 2025. There is nothing involving mob spawning to be found here. Hey, but is this different in the menu too? Like when I move my mouse around, the button gets highlighted now. I don't remember that being a thing, right? Well, in one of the biggest little reveals inside of this preview that wasn't actually revealed inside of this preview, the mob spawning update, if I had to guess, it might come in the next update. So this guess, my inference is being made upon a couple of different things. So thing number one, that strange line from the changelog that we just talked about. I'm not too sure exactly what it means. It seems like a setup. The next part of my assumption here is based upon what was said inside of this mob spawning Q&A. I'll link it down in the description below, but long story short, they said that this change would be coming soon. But our final stop today is perhaps the most convincing one of all. So Smokey Stack, pointing out that line of code from the changelog that we talked about, added creature spawn probability for spawning related experiments. We don't really know what this is quite yet. And then from the documents, this seems to align with Java's passive mob spawning. So it's not just the bad guys. This chart, the beautiful one right here, it's all about hostile mob spawning. For whatever reason, I guess wrongly so, up until this point, I kind of always thought about this mob spawning update as maybe more of a hostile mob update, like finally bringing hostile mob spawning in parity with Minecraft to Java Edition. But according to the documents, this aligns with the Java's passive mob spawning as well, which really makes me wonder. Now, the documents here, they're a little bit hard to process, but basically we have a bunch of code up here, then right here, probability the creature will spawn within the biome when a chunk is generated. Then after that, we have a little bit more technical code. Then we have that same line again, a little bit more technical code for something. And then right here, probability between 0 and 0.75 of creatures spawning within the biome on chunk generation. Ooh, now this right here is juicy. So if we're not only talking about a hostile mob spawning, and we're talking about peaceful mob spawning, that would, well, not only mean that peaceful mobs are going to spawn completely different, and honestly, that might be a little bit of a downside for Bedrock Edition, because right now, peaceful passive mob spawning on Bedrock is kind of crazy. That is, unless you want passive mobs to, like, actually persist in your world. But if we're not only talking about passive mob spawning, but also hostile mob spawning, I wonder if we're talking about other mob spawning, like, with more advanced mechanics, say iron golem spawning as well. Are iron farms about to finally actually be in parity? At last? With this one, I don't fully know what to make of it, but This is crazy. We knew that these mob spawning updates would make their way into the game at some point based off of the Q&A, but it seems that point is getting closer and closer, and the size in which that point actually occupies, it grows larger and larger. This could end up being one of the largest updates Minecraft gets this year. Mob spawning changes, not quite yet, but mob behavior changes, yes, absolutely. The Enderman. The Enderman has an interesting change here. Now, if I take a look at that buddy, stare it in the eyes, it doesn't instantly aggro. I don't know if you could catch it there. It was really brief. I'll roll it back again, but it doesn't, like, instantaneously aggro. There's, like, a short delay, like maybe 1 second of a delay before the Enderman is all mad at me and starts running. An interesting behavioral change that might kind of tie into this big mob rework. In fact, it probably definitely does tie into it. That's coming very soon. Sliding down under the ground to check out this next one here, the zombie spawner. Get a little bit of light going on. The zombie spawner has a huge change inside of this preview. No longer, unfortunately, will this thing ever be able to spawn zombie villagers. Tragically, technically speaking, this is just a Java parody update. It is what it is. But this, unfortunately, breaks one of the greatest easy ways to get your hands on some villagers if you perhaps exist inside of a world where villagers or a village just isn't anywhere nearby. I can't lie, I wish this were the other way around, that Java got the functionality, because I do think it's kind of cool. And after all, a zombie villager is a zombie, right? Now, strangely, inside of this preview, something weird is going on here. Check out the zombie. If I go ahead and pause the game right here, you can see that the zombies in the background are moving around. The pause game option is gone. Now, this is weird because there's no mention of it in the changelog, and I don't see why they would go ahead and, like, remove this one. Inside of the settings right here, there's no option to, like, pause the game when the menu screen is up. It's just that it's back to how it used to be. This totally seems like some kind of weird bug or glitch or something because I don't get it. The pause game option was genuinely such a nice thing, like being able to just pause the game and the game actually pauses. Huh? It's a mystery, really. Now, today, I'd like to wrap up with something that is quite the opposite. Fully revealed. Except at the same time, they didn't actually reveal it quite yet. Spoiler alert here, but we're getting another brand new cape. I think this might be what the cape ends up looking like, with green on top, the dirt blockets, the grass top. This is all according to Smokey Stack. These are files found inside of the game. A new file was found called Cape Incentive. Now, this could just be a placeholder, but at the same time, it's kind of a fire-looking cape. Then, inside of the code, we have a little bit of code. Route to Cape Incentive, received transient, modes, and then a little bit more information. And then a little bit more information as well. Cape Incentive received, all of that kind of stuff. Then we have the text that we would see. Continue capeless, equip cape, and continue. You did it. You're all signed in, which means you get the fancy new cape. Feel free to equip it now or wait to equip it later in the dressing room. It's up to you. It is the cape the player has received. And then, nice cape you got there. So this is interesting. I swear, I was just thinking about, like, not all that long before the snapshot released the other day, I was thinking about how, hey, wasn't there, like, a reveal of possibly 2 capes coming soon? Clearly, on my back, we ended up getting one of the capes. What about the other one? It's not clear at this point in time what the cape will be tied to, but I almost wonder if it'll end up being tied to the spring drop. After all, I feel like pretty much everybody loved the whole winter event thing, and that is kind of a fire way to promote the game and get people to hop back on. And anyways, new mobs, mob spawning, and capes, and more. What do you think about it all? Tell me all about it down below. Tap that like button, subscribe, and check out my links. They're all in the description. Follow my Instagram. Patron gang, huge thank you. Lena R, Ground Crazy May, Medical Boomstick, Fire Dragon 19, Steve M, The Duke, Pixie Phantom, Deb K, Fateful Grimoire, and Jilly K. It's been me, Minecraft's most handsome. Thank you very much.